All right, shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. Now let's get straight to it. All right, so today's lesson, we're going to be going over Lamentations, the first chapter. And the reason I wanted to go over this is because there's so many similitudes to this chapter to our people today. It's almost as if it was written about our current situation that we're in. When I say our people, I'm talking about so-called blacks, and of course the natives and the Hispanics that I apply to. The condition of our people. This was written after the Babylonian captivity, and to lament is basically to cry or to be in a state of, of sorrow per se, to lament. So that's why this is called Lamentations, because if you know anything about Jeremiah, he was lamenting a lot because he was going through it, man. Just seeing the condition of our people, knowing what we were supposed to be, and what ended up happening to us because of idolatry and the various other sins that we committed. He was just constantly lamenting, man. I think even some of the so-called white scholars call him the lamenting prophet or something like that, whatever they say. But either way, that's why I wanted to go into this chapter. I was just going over. I said, man, we need to get on this, man. So let's not overtalk this thing. Let's just go ahead and get started with verse 1, Lamentations chapter 1.
It's the book of Lamentations, chapter 1 and verse 1. How does the city sit solitary that was full of people? How is she become as a widow? She that was great among the nations and princes among the provinces, how is she become tributary?
All right. How doeth the city sit solitary that was full of people? So we know solitary is alone or, isolated per se. So how was the city? How did it become solitary? Because our people were taken out of Israel into Babylon again at this time. But look at the similitude for our people today. We were taken out of our lands into this place called America and scattered among the entire planet Earth. All right. And that place right now, Israel, when I say that place, the holy city right now is solitary, basically, because the people inhabiting that land, they're not supposed to be there. But of course, let's get some scriptures here. All right, let's get Jeremiah 39 and verse 7.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 39 and verse 7, and it reads, moreover, he put out Zedekiah's eyes and bound him with chains to carry him to Babylon.
Took the king of Judah and put out his eyes and bound him with chains. Man, you got to really read this and picture it in your head. Like a king of your people being bound in chains and being carried off to a strange land, to Babylon, where these people doing all these different customs and rituals that you don't want nothing to do with. And it's not part of your own customs. But keep going.
Verse 8, and the Chaldeans burned the king's house and the houses of the people with fire and break down the walls of Jerusalem.
So complete destruction. Keep going.
When Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away captive into Babylon the remnant of the people that remained in the city, and those that fell away, that fell to him with the rest of the people that remained.
All right, so they were carried into Babylon from Israel. All right, so that's why it says here that the city said solitary that was full of people. Our people were taken out of our native land and taken into Babylon. All right, and she became as a widow. Now, why does it say this? Let's get my scriptures are all over the place again. Let's get Jeremiah 3 and 8.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, and verse 8. And I saw when for all these curses whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also.
Okay, so we see here that she has become as a widow. And we've gotten this verse plenty of times as well. I believe I got Jeremiah. Yeah, let's get this really quickly. Jeremiah 6 and 2.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 6 and verse 2. I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman.
All right, so the daughter of Zion, aka the children of Israel, the nation of people are likened to a comely and delicate woman, but a delicate woman that has committed adultery. All right, she had a covenant with the Most High. The nation of Israel did. All right, now she's become as a widow because the Most High has turned his back on her. All right, because she turned her back on him. All right, and let's talk about how it was a covenant and how that was formed. All right, this is Exodus chapter 24. And by the way, so we'll see that this chapter is only dealing with the children of Israel, just like the entire Bible is, but we're about to prove that even more. We're going to go into the New Testament a little bit too to show that, but let's get Exodus 24 and 1.
Go it's the book of Exodus, chapter 24 and verse 1. And he said unto Moses, come up unto the Lord, thou and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off.
Keep going.
And Moses alone shall come near the Lord, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him.
Okay, keep going.
And Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice and said, all these words which the Lord hath said will we do.
All right, in today's marriage culture, what do you say? You say, I do, right? But it's a multitude of the people. So they said, we will do. They're establishing a covenant, just like it says, people affirm their covenant with God right here. So they are, when I say they, the children of Israel are establishing a covenant with the Most High. Give verse 4.
Verse 4. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord and rose up early in the morning and builded an altar under the hill and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel.
According to the 12 tribes of Israel. All right, there wasn't a bunch of random nations of people over here, man. All right, this was according to the 12 tribes of Israel. That's who the covenant has always been for, the first and the second covenant. All right, let's get verse 8. Let's skip down to verse 8.
Verse 8.
Salakia, 7 and then 8.
Verse 7. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people. And they said, all that the Lord has said we will do, and be obedient. Okay,
you see, this is the children of Israel saying that they will be obedient. You know, it's like reading out the vows. You know, I vowed to do this in our marriage. I vowed to do this. All right, to keep my side of the covenant. All right, we know the Most High gonna keep his side of the covenant. It's the Most High. What he says goes. All right. So let's get verse 8.
Verse 8. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant, which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words. Okay.
Now, in verse 6, you see how Moses took half of the blood and from the sacrifices, but this other blood here, he sprinkled on the people. All right, so why was Moses out there sprinkling blood on people? Because every covenant has to be established with blood. All right, that's how a covenant is sealed. All right, which leads me to 1 Peter 1 and 1.
It's the book of First Peter, chapter 1 and verse 1, and it reads, Peter, an apostle of Yahawashi Mashiach, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia.
All right, to the strangers scattered. We've gone over this verse before, but this is referring to the same strangers that were scattered in James 1 and 1, the 12 tribes. All right, and these are just some of the various lands that we were scattered in. But let's get verse 2.
Verse 2, elect according to the foreknowledge of God and the Father. So like, of God the Father, through sanctification of the Spirit, unto obedience and sprinkling of the blood of Yahawashi HaMashiach, grace unto you and peace be multiplied.
All right. So first of all, it says the elect. We know who mine elect is according to the scriptures. We just got that last lesson. According to the foreknowledge. All right, because our people had foreknowledge since the days of Moses about the law. All right. So this is not new, a new thing on earth. All right. Through sanctification of the Spirit unto obedience. When we just said in this first covenant being established, it was the children of Israel declaring their obedience to the Most High. But look at this, sprinkling of the blood of Christ. When Yahawashi came and died, he was sprinkling his blood for the second covenant for the exact same reason that Moses did. All right. He was the second mediator of the second covenant. So he spread his blood for the exact same people that Moses sprinkled the blood on the people, the children of Israel. All right. So it's the same thing. It's not like Moses did for the sprinkle blood on the children of Israel, and then Yahawashi, which is an Israelite. He is an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. Not like he came and sprinkled blood for, every nation in planet Earth for the same exact people. All right. And just to talk about a covenant being established with blood. Let's see, let's get Deuteronomy 22 and 14.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22 and 14. And give occasions of speech against her, and bring up an evil name upon her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid.
Keep going.
Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate.
Okay, there's a custom in Israel, all right, that most of the women that married unto men were virgins, and I guess I just say this plainly. So when the marriage was being sealed, they would have sex on an all white sheet, basically, and that when the hymen was busted from the virgin having sex for the first time, the woman, the damsel here, that same sheet was actually taken as a token. Remember, we said the word token means a sign, basically. So a sign of the damsel's virginity would be that bloody sheet, basically. That would be your token or your proof that the damsel was a virgin. All right, but I'm saying all this to establish what we mentioned about a covenant. So this is that word right here for virginity. And we see Bethlehem H1331, virginity. All right, it says masculine plural, virginity, by implication and concretely the tokens of it. And what does it say here? It says the tokens of virginity of the sign of the covenant. All right. So again, every covenant is sealed with blood. So with Yahawashi dying for the nation of Israel, there was a reason for that. It wasn't just something the Most High did. It was already according to the word. Remember, the law is a shadow of things to come. All right, those sacrifices were a shadow of things to come, that being Yahawashi being that ultimate sacrifice. I'm going on a different direction here, but I just wanted to explain that. That's why you have Israel being likened into a widow or a wife. That's why you see that in the scriptures, and it's only dealing with the children of Israel. All right. That's that comely and delicate woman. No other nation of people were in this Bible was mentioned as being comely and delicate. All right, because they're idolaters. All right, for the most part, the other nations are they're idolaters. It is what it is. All right, so she was great among the nations. All right, let's get that real quick. She was great among the nations, man. Let's get 1 Kings chapter 10 and verse 23.
Book of 1 Kings, chapter 10, and verse 23. So King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wit and for wisdom.
King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom. All right, that means if he was the king of the nation of Israel at that time, that means that the nation of Israel exceeded all the kings of the earth and had the most riches and the most wisdom. All right, so that's what it means here when it says that the nation of Israel, she, meaning Zion, aka the nation of Israel, was great among the nations, man. And princesses among the provinces. How would she become tributary? All right. And we go to the word tributary here. All right. Slave gang, labor gang, task workers. How would she become, dumbed down to a task worker? All right. That's what that's going into. Just like is that sometimes the simplest precepts will slip your mind after a while. I'll be mad when I see it. No. Y'all know what I'm referring to? Is it Isaiah? No, it was Jeremiah said that, right? Homeborn slave? No, not a homeborn. How did he say it? Y'all know what I'm talking about? What precept I'm talking about?
Jeremiah 2, verse 14.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah. I hate when that happens. Yeah, Israel's servant, is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? Become likened into a servant and a slave. All right. And our people is supposed to be much greater than that. All right, let's get the letter of Jeremiah, which in my Bible just says Baruch chapter 6. But here it says the letter of Jeremiah, same thing. Let's get the letter of Jeremiah chapter 1, which is only chapter and verse 2.
The book of the letter of Jeremiah, chapter 1, and verse 2. And it reads, because of sins which ye have committed before the Most High, ye shall be led away captives unto Babylon by Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Babylonians.
Keep going.
So when ye become unto Babylon, ye shall remain there many years, and for a long season, namely 7 generations. And after that, I will bring you away peaceably from thence.
All right. Let's go to reverse 4 real quick.
Verse 4. Now shall ye see in Babylon gods of silver and of gold and of wood born unto shoulders, which cause the nations to fear. I'm sorry,
All right.
born on shoulders, which cause nations to fear.
Con. All right, I'm gonna actually come back there. There was a point I was gonna hit on, but you know what? I'm gonna just actually go back to the main scriptures here. All right, let's get verse 2. Lamentations chapter 1, verse 2.
Lamentations chapter 1 in verse 2. She weepeth sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers, she have none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies.
All right, she weepeth sore in the night. So remember, the law is a light. All right, and when you're in darkness, you know, the night is associated with darkness. All right, she's weeping sore in the night because she's no longer that great, comely, and delicate woman. Now she's been, you know, likened down to a tributary. All right, and her tears are on her cheeks, meaning she's in the current mode of lamenting. Among all her lovers, she hath none to comfort her. What does that mean? All right, let's get the book of Judges, chapter 10 and verse 12.
The book of Judges, chapter 10 and verse 12. The Zidonians also and the Amalekites and the Moabites did oppress you, and ye cried to me, and I delivered you out of their hand.
All right, keep going.
Yet ye have forsaken me and served other gods, wherefore I will deliver you no more.
All right, so actually, let's just get verse 14.
Verse 14. Go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation.
So the Most High is saying, you know, you worshiping these other gods, and now you need my help. Go cry unto them, go worship them, go sacrifice unto them, and let them deliver you in your time of your tribulation. All right, so this is referring to the other gods that our people have been worshiping. All right, all her other lovers, because a comely and delicate woman that Israel is, she's only supposed to have one husband. All right, that's why it says among all her lovers, she have none to comfort her, because when things get real, it's only going to be the Most High that can save us, not these other fake pagan gods that our people been worshiping. All right. I'll just show an example real quick. I know, did I pull up Jeremiah 44? Yeah. Let's get Jeremiah 44 and 9.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 44 and verse 9. Have ye forgotten the wickedness of your fathers, and the wickedness of the kings of Judah, and the wickedness of their wives, and your own wickedness, and the wickedness of your wives, which they have committed in the land of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem?
All right, keep going.
They are not humbled even unto this day, neither have they feared, nor walked in my law, nor in my statutes that I set before you and before your fathers.
All right, that's the reason that we're in the condition that we're in today. And that's the reason that our people went into captivity at this time. That's why I said the similitudes are so strong, because, I mean, this could literally be written right now today, and it would, you know, still apply to us directly right now. Now, of course, the scriptures always apply. I'm just talking about our current situation, us being in captivity right now. All right. But just to give an example of the different gods that we were worshiping, let's get verse 19.
Verse 19. And when we burn incense to the queen of heaven and poured out drink offerings unto her, did we make her cakes to worship her and pour out drink offerings unto her without our men?
All right, so the queen of heaven, that's one of the gods that we worship. That's a what they call a goddess, all right, which is basically a female god or a woman god that we worship. And now you see it says, make her cakes to worship her. Now, if you didn't know, that's where the tradition of birthday cakes even come from. If you look up the goddess Artemis, Artemis, that god, that's a Roman deity, I believe, that our people worship. Well, let me backtrack here. That's a goddess that the Romans eventually worshiped, but they got it from this god here, Queen of Heaven, which was Ishtar, where they made cakes to worship her. And that's where you get candles from on birthday cakes. You know, it's a pagan practice. All right, but that's just one of the many things that our people went into. All right, it's a bunch of examples in the scriptures. All right, all our friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies. All right, so the other nations dealt treacherously with her. They have become her enemies, man. All right, let's get verse 3.
Lamentations chapter 1 and verse 3. Judah is gone into captivity because of affliction and because of great servitude. She dwelleth among the heathen. She findeth no rest, and her prosecutors overtook her between the straits.
Wow, so Judah is going to captivity because of affliction. We were just reading about that. All right, and because of great servitude, she dwelleth among the heathen. All right. That's referring to, of course, our people being taken out from our land into Babylon, but it's the same thing right now. We dwell in among the heathen. She, the nation of Israel right now, is dwelling among the heathen. She finding no rest. All right, I believe I pull up some scriptures about being among the heathen as well, though. All right, brothers, bear with me. Oh, we got to get that too. All right, thus said the Lord. Yeah, let's get Ezekiel 36 and 22.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 36 and verse 22. Therefore say unto the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord God, I do not this for your sake, O house of Israel, but for mine holy name's sake, which ye have profaned among the heathen, whether ye went.
Whither ye went. You went among the heathens. All right, we're among the other nations right now. All right. If we were in our right minds, all right, if we were keeping the statute, laws, and commandments, if we had kept the statute, laws, and commandments, it would be just our people in the land. You know, we've grown accustomed to the way that America is, which they call a great melting pot, because we have all these different nations of people all, you know, in one spot. But it's not supposed to be like that, man. Segregation is a righteous thing. You know, people associate segregation with discrimination. Discrimination is wicked, or at least from the standpoint of what was done to our people. But segregation was never a bad thing. We're supposed to be dwelling amongst ourselves. All right. That's how you weaken your nation, because you mix in the men and the women. Now you breeding, throwing off your seed line. All right, you got to worry about them, their customs wearing off on you, and all these different things, man. So segregation is righteous. All right, that's why it mentions dwelling among the heathen. All right. Did brothers have a precept?
Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 8.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 8, and it reads, When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
We were separated for a reason, and everyone is set to the bounds according to us. Bring out verse 9.
Verse 9, for the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
We are supposed to be separated for a reason, because we are supposed to be holy, the divine people, pursuant to Deuteronomy 7 verse 6.
Absolutely. It says it right here. So it's plain. All right, we're supposed to be amongst each other, man. All right, you don't have to worry about nobody doing you wrong. You can't blame the so-called white man when it's just you and you know, our people are in charge. You can't blame the so-called white man then. And that's why our people don't want that, because we want somebody else to blame. We don't want the responsibility of running our own nation of people. All right. So we got verse 3. Let's get verse 4.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 1 and verse 4. The ways of Zion do mourn, because none come to the solemn feast. All her gates are desolate. Her priests sigh. Her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness.
All right. Her adversaries are the chief. Her enemies prosper. All right. This reminded me of Judith. I just got this pulled up not too long ago, but this whole chapter is really telling. But for the sake of time, we'll just skip down to verse 17 to get the point. This is the book of Judith, chapter 5.
Book of Judith, chapter 5, and verse 17. And it reads, and while if they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God they hated iniquity, because the God that hated iniquity was with them.
This is referring to the children of Israel. When you read up, this is in reference to our people. All right, keep going.
Verse 18. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies.
So you see the results of sin. All right, they try to tell you that the law is done away with, but look what happened. Look at what happens when you do not keep the law. This is what happens, man. You're destroyed in many battles, very sore. You led captive in a land that's not yours. Your temple is gone to the ground, and your cities are taken by your enemies. All right, so does that sound like anything that we need to be a part of? That's what happens when you say the law is done away with. All right, it's everything goes. No laws means no rules. That means anything goes, any and everything. And the Most High is a God of order. Pursuant to 1 Corinthians 14 and 40, all things must be done decently and in order. The law being done away with, that's not order, that's chaos. The complete opposite of order is chaos, and that's what that is. All right, let's keep going.
Verse 19. But now are they returned to their God, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate.
All right, they are returned to their God. So this is what happens when you return to the Most High. All right, he brings everything back that he took away. But the point is, though, that the other nations are well aware of what happens when our people are in sin. Why do you think they spend billions, probably trillions of dollars just to get our people to be deceived into the ways of sin? your Christmas, your Thanksgiving, your Groundhog Day, things like that, that you just unknowingly partake in, that's nothing but sin with a mask on it to make you think it's all right and it's all good. All right. Because they know that your power lies in the Most High. And without that, you can do nothing. Con.
I got a precept just add on to it.
All right.
The book of Joshua, chapter 23, verse 11 through 13.
It's the book of Joshua, chapter 23, in verse 11. Take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves, that ye love the Lord your God.
Because loving God is to keep his commandments. Read on.
Else, if ye do any wise go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them and go in unto them, and they to you.
So if you do what is in the following verse, if you go back into these other people, this is gonna happen to you. Read on.
Know for a certainty that the Lord your God would no more drive out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until ye perish from off this good land which the Lord your God hath given you.
Hey, if you choose to side with these other folks, you gonna feel pain and you gonna die. Straight up.
Exactly. Exactly. So nothing good comes from turning your back on the Most High, which these people tell you to do. They want everybody to be atheists, self-worshipers, so on and so forth. Once you worshiping the woman, these are the things that they will have our people believe is the goal, the key to peace, and to cleave on to them as well. So they can have you dependent and having you thinking that they're the solution to your problems when really it lies within us and turning back to the Most High. All right. She's got verse 4. Her priests sigh, her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness. All right, no, we got verse 5 too. Her enemies prosper, and they know that they only can prosper if the children of Israel are low. All right, if the children of Israel are on high, there's nothing they can do, man. But you have to understand that our people, we are a very specific target for the so-called white man that's in rulership right now. You have to understand that if you don't, you're going to miss that these scriptures are referring to you and your condition right now. All right, let's give verse 6.
Book of Lamentations, chapter 1 and verse 6. And from the daughter of Zion, all her beauty is departed. Her princes are become like harts that find no pasture, and they are gone without strength before the pursuer.
All right, so Israel isn't likened to a comely and delicate woman just because. All right, it's because she is the only woman that keeps the statute, laws, and commandments, that has the Most High in her heart. That's what makes her beautiful. But without that, her beauty is departed. You understand? That's what makes her beauty departed. All right, our people did not get into captivity. If you think of the transatlantic slave trade, they have you believe that they just picked our people up for no reason, and the Most High had nothing to do with it, because they don't talk about it in the church system. They don't cover that. And that's the reason I allow our people to depart away from the church system, is because they can't get any of their questions answered. You know, brothers and sisters have questions about slavery and different things like that, and the condition of our people today. But the scriptures can break that down to you, but you know, they don't want to address it in the church system. And that's why, you know, that's why our beauty has departed, because we turn our back on our light, on our power. All right, keep going.
Verse 7. Jerusalem remembered in the days of her affliction and her miseries all her pleasant things that she had in the days of old, when her people fell into the hand of the enemy, and none did help her. The adversary saw her and did mock at her Sabbaths.
All right, so, you know, they say that you don't miss a good thing until it's gone. All right, so our people remembered in the days of our affliction. All right, we'd be thinking ourselves in a land where we were held captive. All right, so remember the days of old, being the greatest of all nations of people. All right, let's keep going.
Verse 8. Jerusalem have grievously sinned, therefore she is removed. All that honored her despise her, because they have seen her nakedness. Yea, she sighed and turned backward.
All right, Jerusalem has grievously sinned, therefore she is removed. All right, not just out of the land, but the condition as well, the prosperity, the riches, the wisdom, the wealth, that's all been removed. And that's what happens when you turn your back on the Most High. So,
Shalom.
Khan.
Little precept real quick, man. To go along with what you're saying, Judah chapter 5, verse 17.
I didn't get the book out.
Judith chapter 5,
Okay.
verse 17.
Oh, I believe we just covered Judah 5 and 17.
Shalom, my bad.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
Cool. All good. Shalom, man.
we can bring it back out.
No. I got a few other things. I just finished giving my half of it, so my bad. Shalom.
No, it's all good. All good. Because that's exactly where my mind went too. I mean, it's just crazy, man, how the other nations are fully aware of this, and they take it, you know, they take advantage of it. But that's only when we in this condition where we don't know exactly who we are and what we're supposed to be doing. All right. They have seen her nakedness. Remember, nakedness is being exposed with no covering. All right. Let's get wow. Where am I? Let's just get this real quick then. Let's get Revelation 16 and 15.
It's the book of Revelations, chapter 16 and verse 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame.
See, that's how you become exposed. You don't have the garment of righteousness. All right. So that's Israel right now. It's naked. That's why everybody can see us. You know, last hired, first fired. All right, the laughing stock of planet Earth, always being used as amusement. All right, because we're naked. Everyone can see our shame. We have no garments. We have no protection, no covering. All right. I'm gonna pull a precept in the book of Baruch. Let's get Baruch. I believe it's chapter 5. All right, let's get that verse 1.
The book of Baruch, chapter 5 and verse 1. Put off, O Jerusalem, the garment of thy mourning and affliction, and put on the comeliness of the glory that cometh from the Most High forever.
All right, keep going.
cast about thee a double garment of the righteousness which cometh from the Most High, and set a diadem on thine head of the glory of the everlasting.
All right, a double garment of righteousness. You see, that's how you become covered. You only can become covered from the Most High. He's your protection, your shield, your buckler. All right, but without it, you expose, you naked. All right, and when you naked, not only can everybody see you, but you're susceptible to everything as well. All right, you're susceptible to heat, to cold, to rain. All right, you have nothing to protect you, so you feel everything. All right. So I believe that's all I wanted on verse 8. She sighed, she turned it backwards. All right, let's get verse 9.
Book of Lamentations, chapter 1, and verse 9. Her filthiness is in her skirts. She remembereth not her last end. Therefore she came down wonderfully. She had no comforter. O Lord, behold my affliction, for the enemy have magnified himself.
Wow, filthiness is in her skirts. Wow, she remembered not her last end, because we're supposed to know the last end. We're supposed to know, according to Deuteronomy chapter 28, we're supposed to know the last end for not keeping the covenant. All right, and we agreed to this covenant for all generations, by the way. So in Exodus 24, when we read about Moses sprinkling the blood on the people, that wasn't just for the people that were there. All right, that was for, 1,000 generations, meaning forever. All right, whether you want to deal with it or not, you are part of that covenant. So you have to abide by the vows that you and your forefathers, are supposed to hold on to. Are you supposed to keep? Let's go to verse 10.
Verse 10. The adversary hath spread out his hand upon all her pleasant things, for she hath seen that the heathen entered into her sanctuary, which thou didst command that they should not enter into thy congregation.
Yeah, that's law. All right. No heathens are supposed to enter into the congregation. That's a sin in itself. That's going off. All right. The adversary has spread out his hand upon all pleasant things. Let's get Jeremiah Lamentations. Brothers, bear with me. All right, let's get Lamentations 2 and 15.
It's the book of Lamentations, chapter 2 and verse 15. All that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth?
So they mocking. They mocking us, man. Saying this is supposed to be the great city. This is supposed to be God's chosen people. All right, this is supposed to be the city, the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth. Look at y'all now. Y'all used to be on. Dang, homie. You was amazing.
I got a precept, bro.
All right, bring it out.
It's Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5 and 6.
All right, this is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it.
Keep going.
Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
God, so the other nations, they mock us because we don't keep the laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High gave to us. And that's our wisdom and understanding in the sight of the other nations, as you just read. It's going right into what you just said in Lamentations 2 and 15.
Khan, absolutely. Surely this great nation is wise and understanding people, but you only can have that with the statute, laws, and commandments, which you have to receive from the Most High. All right, wisdom, Con.
I got something to add on to it.
Bring it out.
First on Maccabees chapter 7 and verse 33.
It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 7 and verse 33. After this went Nicanor up to Mount Sion, and there came out of the sanctuary certain of the priests and certain of the elders of the people to salute him peaceably and to show him the burnt sacrifice that was offered for the king. Keep going.
So sorry about that. I was muted. So on even when we try to be peaceful with the heathen and actually show them our ways, saying, come on and see our sacrifice and all this. This is what they do. Read on.
Verse 34. But he mocked them and laughed at them and abused them shamefully and spake proudly.
They don't give a damn about what we have, and they never will. So how can this be for them?
Con, that's what they're gonna do, because this is a strange doctrine to them. Keeping the Sabbath or keeping a dietary law. That's funny to the other nations of people, man. And as our people that have the heart and the mind of a Gentile, it's funny to them too. That's what our people do. I don't eat shrimp no more. Wow. You don't eat shrimp? They act like it's it's opposite. It's a sin not to eat, lobster and crab and shrimp and things of that nature. But definitely other nations, they can't even begin to think about keeping the laws. It was never meant for them to do so.
You show our people in the scripture where it says don't do it, and they still do it.
They still do it, still laugh and mock you, man. It's crazy. All right, I believe we had, I think I lost my verse. I'll just go to it real quick. We ran Lamentations 2:15, I believe. I don't think we finished that out. No, we finished that out. Let's just get verse 16 real quick.
Book of Lamentations, chapter 2 and verse 16. All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we look for. We have found. We have seen it.
When the so-called white man came into prominence, it started in the late 1400s, real late 1400s, and didn't really fully culminate until the 1800s. When they came into power, this is what they thought. All right, they hissing and gnashing their teeth. We have swallowed her up. We have taken over this nigger man that's been ruling the earth for thousands of years. All right, because they have this equipment and things of that nature. They didn't dug into Israel and all these different cities and great countries where you read about in the scriptures. They see the artifacts. They know that they were not written into the book of life. They already understand that. So the only glory and hope that they have on earth is taking control of you. All right. And the only way they can do that is if you don't have your power, which is the Most High. But that's what the other nations do, man. It's a great thing to them to take over you. All right. They're sitting there laughing at you. They mock you all the time in the different movies they have, the different seminar, all right, series, whatever, so on and so forth. They tell you who you are, you still don't get it, and they laughing at you. All right. So let's go ahead and get back to the original chapter here. We go back to it. Oh, and again, this is heathen's not supposed to even enter the congregation, man. That's going off. Let's get verse 11.
Lamentations chapter 1 and verse 11. All her people sigh. They seek bread. They have given their pleasant things for meat to relieve the soul. See, O Lord, and consider, for I am become vile.
All her people sigh. They seek bread. All right. So not only food, but we know that Yahawashi is the bread of life. I believe that's in John chapter 6. John 6 and 48, I'm the bread of life. All right, and Yahawashi is the word. So once we get into this situation, we're seeking that bread, we're seeking that word. All right. And then the spiritual meat, they have given their pleasant things for meat to relieve the soul. All right. See, oh, consider, O Lord, and consider, for I become vile. And that's dealing with meat. I believe I got that up here. It's in Hebrews, chapter 5, verse 13.
Book of Hebrews, chapter 5, and verse 13. For everyone that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe.
All right, let's get verse 14.
Verse 14. But strong meat belongeth to them that are full of age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil.
All right, this is just some of the language that lets you know that the Bible wasn't written for everyone. We're the only ones that can use these type of similitudes, and we still understand what's going on. You see milk being likened to the word of righteousness, the beginning word of righteousness, but still the word of righteousness. And strong meat belonging to them that are full of age. This is not referring to, just steak and chicken and things of that nature. It's referring to the deeper matters of the word that's harder to digest. All right, because meat is hard to put down unless you're of full age, unless you well study and you have ears to hear. All right. And we're getting close to time, but we don't keep rocking at least for a little bit more. Let's get verse 12.
Book of Lamentations, chapter 1, verse 12. It is nothing to you, all ye that pass by. Behold, and see if there be any sorrow like unto my sorrow, which is done unto me, wherewith the Lord hath afflicted me in the days of his fierce anger.
Wow. It's nothing to you, all ye that pass by. Behold and see if there be any sorrow like unto my sorrow, which is done unto me. No. So the Most High is only dealing with us. So our punishment will always be harsher than anyone else's punishment. All right. That's why the other nations can do these things and get away with it. If you're wondering, don't everybody sin? Yeah, everybody's sin. But our people, we were given that covenant. So only we can break that covenant. All right. If if you're married and you see another man's wife commit adultery, you may mourn for that man, but you're not going to punish that woman. You can't do nothing to her. That's not your wife. All right. But if it's your wife that commits that adultery, it's a different story. All right. That's how the Most High sees us. All right. Let's keep going.
Verse 13. From above hath he sent fire into my bones, and it prevaileth against them. He hath spread a net for my feet. He hath turned me back. He hath made me desolate and faint all the day.
He turned his back on us, man. All right, let's get Isaiah chapter 59 and verse 2.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 59 and verse 2. But your iniquities have separated between you and your God, and your sins have hid his face from you, that he will not fear.
we went to a lesson on this some months back, and that's why the Most High turned his back on us, man. If you don't understand, why you in this condition, that's why, man. The sin is the only thing that can separate us from the Father. That's it. Sin is the transgression of the law. Therefore, you have to have the law to not have not have the Most High turn his face from you, man. It's really that simple. All right, I have some other precepts on here. But really, the rest of the chapter is kind of going to a lot of concepts that we already covered. I would love to get it, but most of the points have been made, especially since we strongly established what the covenant is and who the covenant is for, the Old and the New Testament. We've also seen why our people are in this condition, and we talked about the similitudes of our people today and the children of Israel at this point in time. But we know that, if you understand, most people know this, but if you understand, let's get Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 4.
The book of Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 4. One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever.
Okay. And now, let's just get straight to the point. Let's get verse 9.
Verse 9. The thing that have been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun.
Captivity is not a new condition for the children of Israel, as you see. This is what this is referring to. This verse is saying the same type of motivations that men had to be greedy and to sin and to go off. And also on the other hand, the right hand side, to be righteous and to prosper, to keep the law, to come back to the Most High, to bring his people to the Most High. All these things have already been, all right, and our captivity has already been. There's no new thing under the sun. All the things that we think may be new, like people may think something like pedophilia is new, or transgenders, that's a new, none of that is new. That's been going on in the ancient times as well. All right, so there's no new thing under the sun, which also means that when we read Lamentations 1, we're seeing that this is the same condition that our people were in back then that we're in right now. And it's for the exact same reason. So take heed to the commandment. Learn from things mentioned in the 4 times so we can see the kingdom, God willing. Brothers, got any other precepts?
I got one.
Let's get it.
Ecclesiasticus, Sirach 19. Oh, hold on. Sirach chapter 19, verse 19 and 20.
Okay. All right, this is a book of Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 19 and verse 19. The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, and they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality.
So you need the commandments of the Most High in order to live spiritually. And you also need the commandments of the Most High in order to get eternal life. Go on.
The fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law and the knowledge of his omnipotency.
So you need godly wisdom, in order to understand these scriptures. And that's obtained through the performance of the law. And that gives you the knowledge of the power of the Most High.
Absolutely. And it keeps your people out of bondage. All right.
Important.
What's that?
Yeah, it definitely does that.
It keeps you people out of bondage, man. So we out here looking stupid all the time, man. So don't think that we out here like this for no reason. You know, our people say on one hand, well, black man is this and a black woman is the greatest woman, this, and that. But, you know, we still out here can't get right. That's how other nations look at it. Just can't get right. Sitting there murdering each other. We make songs about killing each other. We make songs and videos mocking our own women, having them, you know, stripping down naked all the time for no reason. We just sit there and laugh about it. There's always videos on social media talking about the hood this. If you do this in the hood, getting gas in the hood and, you know, brothers shooting in the background and all this different stuff. We mocking each other. That's nothing to laugh at. That's nothing to mock at. That we shoot each other, we kill each other. And we got hoods where these things are, you know, in full rotation, like in Chicago. But that's just one example. It's Chicago's everywhere. They just talk about Chicago the most, but most of the liberal ran states in the United States, they got some bad hoods in it where it's, you know, murders are abundant. That's nothing to laugh at, but this is the reason why that's happening. All right, because the knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is lost. But brothers, got any other precepts? Con. So when you read Lamentations chapter 1, know that it's talking about you and know what we need to do to get ourselves out of this mess. And with that, I yield.